Okay, so we are getting together
Mm-hmm.
to talk during a pandemic, but notice we are socially distanced.
They can't touch me.
But these are the college students who could make it here, and so we have
Yes.
Fiifi and Kolby, and I'm Stuart, and we're going to get together. We normally would do a Bible study together or something, but tonight I thought we would talk about frustration. So just for maybe 20 or so minutes, because we're going to put this online, and we don't want people to get scared of like a 60-minute
Rant about how they're
rant.
frustrated about
Right.
everything.
Yeah.
What's wrong with the world?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we're going to go with trying to keep it shortish as compared to our normal 3-hour, Bible
long
study. But
discussions about toilet paper.
anyway, so hypothetically, what could make you frustrated during this coronavirus experience?
Ooh. So it's not. It's more of an annoyance than a frustration. But like all like my favorite food places are like a majority of them are kind of closed down. And it's like you can't go out to get these food. Like good luck going to Chick-fil-A. Like you got a 3-hour line right there in the drive-through. Have fun there. But so like last night, I was on DoorDash and I was ordering a pizza from Pieology because like I've never eaten there before, and it's like I kind of don't want to get like other pizza because Bonfire's closing and I love Bonfire. So I was like, all right, I'll try this pizza place out. So, and I see an option there for vegan cheese. And I'm like, you know what? My boss tells me all the, for those of you who don't know, I don't like cheese. Shocker. So I was like, you know what? Well, let me try vegan cheese because maybe it doesn't taste like real cheese. Maybe it tastes like something better. To me, at least. So I order the pizza. I get it. I take a bite of the first slice. It is easily the worst thing I have ever eaten.
Yeah.
It's disgusting texture, consistency, and just flavor wise. The worst thing. It tasted like a slime that was like hard but also soft and just
Tragic.
was disgusting. Like I couldn't eat my pizza. So I literally spent $20 on a pizza that I just could not eat.
So we're going to go Colby. Frustration equals fake cheese.
Listen, like whoever thought, man, this vegan cheese tastes good, you're just lying to yourself.
There's that.
You're a dirty liar.
Okay. Fifi, can you top that in your world of frustration?
Let's see. I don't know. Kolby really, messes me up sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. I'd have to say maybe sometimes other people could probably, even though it's a time where you're not really around people or surrounded by people, I can definitely understand how people's actions may, frustrate some people because you're going to go buy, as Kolby said in the beginning, toilet paper, or you're going to go buy just anything, and you just want one of it or something like that, and then all of a sudden it's all gone. You just some quick Lysol, and then it's gone, right?
For
Because
sure,
one
yeah.
person decided to try to buy like 30, right?
Because they think this is in a full-scale
Right,
apocalypse.
right, because it's the first time. It's the first time Floridians have ever had to deal with something other than natural disasters.
Yeah, 'cause,
so
like-
then they're like, oh,
a hurricane's coming? I'm going to go to the beach and be calm.
right, exactly.
There's a flu going around? Dog, I got to buy all the meats in
Right.
Publix right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Even though meat isn't really sustainable, I don't know why they
Which,
bought
like,
that.
that's the thing. Like, everyone's going to have to return this stuff once, like, this is over, like, by the
Right.
end of the summer, Like,
Yeah.
because it's just either it's going to go bad and be wasted or they're going to return it all.
Right.
Like, it's how it's going to work out. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Stuart, what are
So-
you frustrated about? What
Topic.
I guess
What
for
topics
me,
you-
like
Is yours Kolby as well?
the schedule for me is all off,
Oh, yeah.
because in some ways good, because normally I have to be up at 6:20 to take the kids to
Same.
school,
Oh, yeah.
and I don't, which that's super awesome because I'm not a morning person. But just the weirdness of the schedule being off, me and my wife are having to pretty much learn how to be homeschool teachers, which neither of us really signed up for that. We like public school.
Yeah.
But so we're really quickly doing that, and we have awesome kids, but like they are home 24/7. So it's like, how do we entertain children all the time? And
Right.
Invite Fiifi over.
yeah, well, except for I'm not allowed to let
Right,
anyone near my
exactly.
kids.
Exactly.
So there's
Tragic.
that. But so I mean
solution.
that I think I heard somebody say recently like they didn't believe in coffee until they had children, and like I completely understand that, and
Right.
and so they're like my levels of frustration have definitely been way higher since I had children, even though I super love my children and they're super easygoing, cool kids.
Yeah, they're great.
It's just like a lot of my time is taken by them, and I think a lot of people are kind of are finding during this pandemic that their time is not their own. That
True.
they're in quarantine with their family or people they didn't necessarily sign. Normally you'd be like, you guys are bugging me. I'm going to go away.
Mhm.
But like you can't go away anymore,
Right,
and so you're like
understandable.
or like, oh, I'll go do something in front of a screen. Well,
Right.
for many of us, like we've already done too much screen time watching the news or
Yeah,
whatever,
for sure.
so there's just like our normal ways of coping with frustration. Like I'll go to the mall and buy myself some shoes or something
Right?
like that.
Yeah.
Like shopping, can't really do that. Like, there's so many things that are frustration, maybe not good coping mechanisms, but regardless, we're
Yeah.
not able to get to those, and
Right.
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, so
Right.
I have a list here of like when frustration comes, what to think, and so let's go through these, and hopefully it'll make us sound way wiser than I actually am or anything. So the first one, when frustration comes, you need to ask yourself, is it my fault? Because
Right.
the Bible says something about a man reaps what he sows, and so sometimes we're frustrated because we messed up, and there's that, you fail an exam or something, it could theoretically be your fault, or something like that. So, fresh, and oftentimes I know I get frustrated when people do things that are like, like you kind of get frustrated about things that other people do that annoy you. It's oftentimes something you don't like in yourself or something like that. If somebody's prideful, it may be you don't like their pridefulness because you have pride issues or whatever. But anyway, so the first thing, asking, is it my fault? And so if it is your fault, hopefully kind of how do I not do this the next time? But then what really helps me, and I came across this a while, is like understanding that if it's not my fault, then it's not my fault.
Mm.
And that, because sometimes I will take on the stress and stuff from things that I have no control over. And so it's like, if you have no control over it, then there's really no reason to worry, because your worry can do nothing really to fix it in a lot of ways. So anyway, what do y'all think about the first one? Like,
I think that's a great thing, because like, I feel like with any emotion, or a lot of those, if like as a whole, it's viewed as not a great emotion to have, like anger, frustration, irritation, sadness. Kind of considered the not great emotions. I think like just expressing that, not balling up, is like an okay thing to do as long as you help me. But afterwards, like anytime like I'm at work or I'm frustrated with like a customer or something, I'll get frustrated. Then like I'll take a step back and be like, they're just a dumb customer. There's no reason to get so worked up about it. Just take a chill pill, go use the toilet for 10 minutes, and just be on your way.
Right. I think this kind of plays into that, like check your heart thing. You know how some people were like, oh, hey, check your heart. Like it was a hashtag for some time. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I feel like, a lot of people think that checking your heart may just be like, hey, make sure your intentions are all good and everything like that. And like intentions should like line up with whatever, maybe God has intended for you or something
For
like
sure,
that.
yeah.
But I feel like it's also like, you may get angry and you may be frustrated at someone or something, but if you check your heart, then you can not bottle it in, but you can take what you were about to express to that person, whether it be verbally or physically, and then you can take that to God, and then you can express your frustration to him and allow him to alleviate that, rather than allowing yourself to just go off on this person and think that that will alleviate your frustration. I feel like if we take that to God, then we can really, prevent it from happening next
For
time,
sure, yeah.
or just feel way better than we did before. But I feel like the bathroom thing's also good, like just taking some time to
Yeah, just go and
some
like
chill.
go like isolate yourself, collect your thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe just like pull out your phone real quickly to distract you from it, get some enjoyment out there. Just something to like really just like calm down. Like, because a lot of things I think we just in general like I know I get frustrated about. It's like next hour later, it's like I kind of forget about it. It's not really worth my time. You know, then it's just like the day goes by and you're like, oh, it's just a story that you tell to look back on and laugh about, if anything.
Well, and that what brought it to mind is the whole concept of like you can't necessarily control your emotions, but you can control your actions.
That's very true.
So, realizing I am frustrated, but then thinking just because I'm frustrated does not mean I get to break something or I get to yell at or I get to kick the dog or whatever your frustration. I'm just hypothetically,
Hypothetically.
what
Hypothetically.
your way of,
Maybe.
Punted the dog
just
because it stepped on my foot.
Right.
just
If the
because you have
dog-
that emotion doesn't necessarily mean you're allowed to release it,
Right.
and
Yeah.
unfortunately it's probably good to release emotions in healthy ways, but realizing that there's an emotion, but there's also an action, and don't just assume because you have an emotion you have to act on that. So
Mhm.
that y'all just made me think of that. I don't know where that is in my outline or notes kind of thing. So I think Kolby, you were kind of saying like also in that, maybe when you get frustrated, try to find the humor in it.
Right.
There was somebody who I can't remember. All religious authors kind of blend together in one, and but somebody was talking about like, go out and do something epic because it'll either be a great success and awesome, or it'll be a great failure and become a great story.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And so if your frustration you can turn into a humorous thing of like, man, I did this thing and I bombed so hard, and if you can, distance yourself from it and just be able to laugh at yourself and find the humor in your mistakes rather than letting it eat you away and be like, just because you failed does not mean you're a failure. And so being able to be like, whoops, total mess up, my bad,
Yeah.
and laugh at it and find the good story in that rather than just, I'm never trying that again, but instead like, well, now I know that's not how to do it. Next time I'll know that's the wrong answer. Like I've tried one thing and that was a mistake. Let's try a different way of making this work. So
For sure.
Yeah.
that whole kind of thing of trying to find, some type of humor in it. Okay, when you get frustrated, thank God in the situation. Now, how would you, that might not be when you get frustrated, your first thing that comes to mind, but why or how would you thank God in a frustrating situation?
Well, I think when the frustration, like, I think once you start to calm down, you're like, all right, thank you, God, for like helping me realize the thing that I was so fixated on and so that got to me, like emotionally, is not worth my time. Thank you for helping me realize that, and thank you for giving me this great life that I do have. Stuff like that. Like we all have trials and tribulations. I think we need to thank God for all of them because they're all learning experiences. They're all things that help us grow and become who we are. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Thank you, Kelly Clarkson.
I think. Go ahead.
No, you can go. Yeah.
I was just saying that I think it goes kind of along the lines of what Kolby was saying earlier about the distraction thing, like going on your phone or something like that. But I think also if you were to, thank God for, just things that are great in your life, like, oh, thanks God for, the ability to have this job that's, that's making me mad right now, or like thank you for this and this and this, and by saying all of those great things it can then distract you from the one bad thing that's in front of you, because I feel like a lot of people kind of think a lot of the things that they have in their life are mundane just because they're so used to it. But if they constantly are able to like remind themselves, especially in situations like that, that I am grateful for blank, then they can actually start to be grateful for it.
Yeah.
Like one of my friends had an example of that. Like they had quarantined because that's a good thing to do, and sure enough, they went out to start their car wouldn't start.
Right.
But instead of getting incredibly frustrated because the car couldn't start, they were able to go to the like, thank you God that I have a car,
Yeah.
and thank you God that I have a job that I was on my way to go to, that I get, I have a job during this crisis, and that I have a job where they're cool if I'm an hour late or however long it takes her to jumpstart a car, but so counting the blood, like you're saying, instead of just taking everything for granted or not realizing your blessings even in your frustrations, that like something that, getting frustrated about technology, be thankful you have technology,
Right. Yeah. Like we live in an age where we have technology and like
yeah.
can do so many amazing things with it.
I mean, low on toilet paper.
Amazon
Whoever
thing.
invented that toilet paper, genius.
Yeah,
Like I
right.
can't imagine pre-toilet paper days. I don't want to. It just like so. I don't know why we always go to toilet paper when we talk together, but it's a recurrent thing.
Listen,
But
let's install bidets
because
in
the
our bathroom
bathroom's
so we
so
solve
yes,
this
close.
problem.
I'd have to say.
but anyway, just the idea of being thankful. Oftentimes, that whatever is frustrating, there's several layers of. There are people who don't have that. There are people who are suffering. For me, one of the kind of existential angst kind of thing of this whole experience is I'm having a great time. Like the weather is beautiful. My kids are fun. We went for a bike ride today and then
Awesome.
flew a kite. Totally awesome. Like we took pictures. It was just like, this is awesome. But I'm of course realizing the whole time there are people who have lost their jobs. There are kids who aren't getting their regular food because normally they would get it at school. There are parents who are working and leaving their kids at home, latchkey, and situations like that. And so it's like, for me, it's kind of the sad frustration that I know, even though everything's going great in my life, I know there are other people who are having a really hard time, and so I feel kind of guilty that I'm having such a good time. So that kind of frustration with it all kind of thing.
I think a really good way to like go against feeling frustrated about, how some people are like, oh hey, you're privileged, or oh hey, you have food on the table every single day and stuff like that. I feel like people shouldn't feel guilty about those type of things, but they should understand that those type of things are real, and then they should utilize some of their time to help those that don't have what they have to make it so that way.
Yeah.
So maybe, that feeling guilty thing might just be like a sign that, oh, maybe I haven't donated any money, in like a month or something like that. Oh, I haven't, volunteered in a while. Maybe those are the type of things, or the type of reasons why we have, shame, guilt, all that type of stuff. Or because I mean, I feel like you have what you have because of a series of events, not because
Sure.
Yeah, of other things. So
or that we're blessed to be a blessing to others.
Right.
Kind of concept.
Exactly.
There's nothing
That's a nice
wrong
one.
inherently with being privileged. I just think you need to understand that you are privileged, regardless if it's money wise or socially wise, But understand that and try to your best ability to help those around you with your privilege. I think that's the best part. I think that's what all that really matters with it.
Yeah, for sure.
So the last point on this whole frustration thing is, in all of it, hopefully your frustration will turn you back to God. That somehow through the frustration, you'll realize your hopelessness, your helplessness, that you need God in whatever frustrates you, and that we can't do it on our own. So the overall concept that we are truly reliant on God, and therefore we need to be thankful and trust and appreciate that. And sometimes that's not easy because you're frustrated and it's an emotion, and you just
You're just seeing pure red and can't see straight.
Right. And I think even further upon that is like sometimes you can be frustrated and not be able to do anything about it. And so the only one that like not just like, let's say someone's in the hospital, you're frustrated, your frustration won't change anything, but also along the lines of maybe you're like, because of this situation where maybe in like Brazil, they already had an order to have to stay in their homes and stuff like that. But because of that, domestic abuse went up, right? And so the people being domestically abused may have a lot of frustrations in their life, and it just might be building and building, and they can't really do anything about it because it's like, oh, what am I going to do? Like everything's against me and stuff like that. But if they understand, oh, wait, let me turn to the one who created me, created the world, and created, hope and love and all that type of stuff, then they will, stuff will start to unravel and work in their favor. Because just like right now, they made it so that way you would not get arrested if you left your house to report, domestic abuse or something of that sort. And then like just a bunch of laws and regulations are being changed to help those in those social situations. So if you put yourself in place of someone who's in that situation, if they had that hope beforehand, oh wait, God's gonna turn this around, then they're seeing that result now. So
Like, you made me think of the fight or flight response, and normally we think of that, in times of emergency or something. But I guess psychologists say there's also a third thing, which is you can fight or you can flight, get away. But the third option is you brace for impact, kind of thing, and that is oftentimes the most frustrating, the most hopeless feeling, because it's kind of a, in this situation, my only option is just to take it. And when you talk about domestic violence, that's that person who is just like, I'm gonna have to just take this. And unfortunately there are people who that is their only option, and that and that's sad to think of. But I would hope that somehow in our faith, even in that response where our only option is just to brace for impact, that even in that we can find God with us and have a feeling of, this isn't all there is, because there's a God who loves me. And somehow in that our faith can make us strong, even in the situations that we can't get out of, kind of thing, which is unfortunate. But anyway, so frustration, coronavirus, we are all having our own variations of frustration, some more than others and stuff. But I just thought that was a good topic for us to kind of think about, because we're probably all out of our element in some way. And this is a way to, hopefully acknowledge some of the ways that we're blessed in all this. And then in other ways, that maybe we need to grow. We need to realize where's the frustration coming from and deal with it. But in overall, understanding that God is with us, even in this hard time. So,
what about the, I don't want to make this too long or anything like that, but what about I don't know, there may be like one person watching that's like, okay, yeah, that's great, that's amazing, I agree, but how? You know what I mean? Like, some people may be like, now we said a lot of things in the beginning about how, but what about if it's, a bit more intense, maybe, domestic abuse or something like that? How are they supposed to brace or something like that? I feel like you'd have a lot of answers to the how, because you have a lot of info and stuff like that. I feel like,
as God's creations, we're not meant to go through this world without Him. I also think we're not meant to go through this world without other people as well. So I think, because just at least connecting with other people, telling them how you feel emotionally, this is a time where you should not be holding any emotion back, because you don't know if it's going to be your last. You know what I mean? Or say something to someone that you've always wanted to say or never got a chance to say, or really express yourself to that person. So I just think keeping in contact with people, saying, hey, this is what I'm feeling today, can I just talk to you about it? Just finding that one or multiple people you can talk to, get on a group call with your friends and just be like, hey guys, how was your day? What are you feeling today? How are you emotionally? How is your mental health? That's the biggest thing. Because since we can't, granted, we're all in front of each other right now, but as a whole, all of our society, we can't just be in front of each other talking, expressing ourselves, living in the moment. We're stuck in our beds, in our rooms, just in our underwear, trying to talk to the person over the phone, and sometimes that's not the easiest thing to do. But I just think being open, finding and having those open relationships with people, so you can just take all of this nonsense that's just in your head and put it out there, so you can look back and be like, man, I was frustrated over nothing. I was doing nothing wrong. It's just something to not bottle up everything you are feeling, just so you can put it out there in the world. Just finding people, because I know some people don't, and some people are having a hard time right now, but I'm sure there's definitely at least one person in your life that definitely wants to be there for you and wants to make sure you are doing okay.
Yeah. I feel like on top of that as well, that a lot of people try to like sleep on or something like that is reading the Bible. You
Oh,
know,
for sure.
because I feel like it's a great reminder for like to get out of our truth and then go into God's truth, because a lot of people like to create a reality for themselves that isn't their true reality, and God says things about us and those things are true. So if we go in the Bible and we remind ourselves of those things, then when we go into situations like that, we can be like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
but God thinks this about me, and so that's the truth, and then that can really help us brace for impact or something of that
For
sort.
sure, yeah. No, like my favorite books of the Bible are Proverbs, Ecclesiastes, and Job, and those are the perfect books of the Bible to be reading right now to kind of process all this crap that's just going on around us.
Mm.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, Bible, prayer, community is a little harder now because we're socially distancing. But
Right.
I think we've all kind of had that, like, I need to call my friend.
Like I need to check up on my friends.
I need to
I
check.
just
Right.
like
Yeah.
I want to hear them breathe for 10 seconds,
Right.
Yeah.
just so I can know that they're alive.
So doing the check-ins, and hopefully through all this, we can all kind of get a greater concept of what's truly important
and grow together. Yeah.
and so from that, I hope I was talking to somebody today, and they're like, yeah, it's really rough, but then they were like, we're probably really going to miss this when it goes back to normal, because it is quieter and we are able, to have more time in certain areas and stuff like that. And so it's a different world we're in right now. But hopefully we can learn from it.
Mhm.
Hopefully we can grow from it and grow in our faith, especially, but overall in our relationships, in all this, we can find the true meaning of why we're here and what's important, and maybe get rid of some of the stuff that's not important, and focus on
this
the
whole
good
thing's
stuff.
definitely like a big reality check on everyone, like what's important, and like because I know people are looking back at stuff they used to, then now they're thinking, man, I really enjoyed this, or like I wasted my time doing this. I guarantee you those people that are like, oh, I wish I saw this girl in my class, but like I'm too nervous. Like, dog, that could have been your last chance. You could have been like. That's one of the things I feel like after all this, people are going to take a lot more risks, live a little bit more, do a lot more with their lives, and just do the things that they love more.
Yeah.
Not focus on the absolute nonsense of the
That'd be
day-to-day.
great. Yeah. I feel like one thing that always runs through my head is the saying, even though we're apart, I feel like everyone is now realizing that they are a part of something bigger, right? So like that's one pretty cool thing that I was like, oh, cool. I don't know if I read it somewhere or if I heard it in a dream or if I read, I don't know.
Heard
But
it in a dream?
Heard it in a
Man,
dream.
my dreams are just really been crazy
Man,
lately.
my dreams are deep.
Dude,
Yeah.
what?
Man, should
Mine
write
are
this
not-
down.
Anyway, so again, frustration.
Yeah.
It can be frustrating. Try not to let it get the best of you. Try to find ways to cope with it, and definitely try to turn to God. So, thank you all for hanging out.
Yeah, no problem.
Go with God.
Amazing.
Amen.